Hi everybody! One of the questions in this module was what makes an engaging video, and it's gotta be the larger than life personalities of these YouTubers. So I thought I'd be larger than life this whole video. Okay, I'm just kidding. Yes, one of the questions in this module was what makes an engaging video. So I wanted to make an engaging video for you as I do my reflection today on the question of what are my thoughts on digital composing in the classroom context, the pros, the cons, and everything in between. So I will actually get started here by saying I'm Nicole Hemmen, and I'm excited to share my thoughts on this specific topic. So let's end the intro here and roll into our content. Just as a little side note, thanks for putting up with my first day of summer break clothes and hair and the fact that I am back in the classroom trying to film this. The clock is wrong. It's not almost midnight. It's not almost 12, but that is such a good picture of the last week and a half. So thanks for putting up with it. So in this module, I really thought about the difference between teachers and digital composing and students. So through the teacher perspective, when I looked at the blogs, the micro blogs, the videos, I was really assessing quality and what's the best of the best by thinking about time. Right? Like it always seems like teachers don't have enough time. And when we want to research what's the best, what's the new trends in digital composing, like all of that, time is precious. So I thought the blogs like Mighty Girls and the School Library Journal, who obviously have funding and money, and there are lots of people creating those platforms for teachers, those are the ones that I gravitated towards. And like that kind of seems stinky, for all of better words, for those people who are maybe smaller content creators in the blogging industry, just because like it was so much harder to like go through all of their information, whereas those bigger companies, like it was quick tips. I loved Richard Beyer when it came to the YouTube videos. I know he was on several platforms, but for him, like his tutorials, I watched a few of those and I was like, wow, like it's summer break, but I have so many creative ideas now just based on his short little tips and tricks video. And so for me in the future, and even starting now, I need to be more intentional about using some of my classroom time when I have it to get onto these blogs, to follow certain content creators. So we'll get into some of those ideas, and that's where I saw the digital composing for students come up. The digital composing for students was all about creation, collaboration, and communication. Those were some of the pieces from Henry Jenkins that I saw in participatory culture. I want to engage my students in digital composing because those are the skills they need to develop for the future. They need to be 21st century learners and citizens. Henry Jenkins said that the new media skills that they're going to need, a few of them are like play and performance and simulation. They need to be able to access collective intelligence, not just on their own. They need to make judgments about these new forms of literacy. So if I'm not engaging my students in these platforms like blogging, microblogging, and just digital composing in general, then they're not getting the skills they need, and I don't even have the chance to model or scaffold them for them. So yeah, like I was saying earlier, these are the things I started thinking of on this first day of summer, like what can I take into my classroom next year? And so these ideas started coming to me as I was going through the module and reading other research articles, and I was thinking of ideas for what does my morning time look like? Why can't it be like a seize the day, 3 C's? Go and do community, creativity, and collaboration through some sort of classroom, community-based website, right? Like a blogging site that they can create a portfolio. And one of the articles I read said portfolios aren't a good measure. They were talking about how they assessed secondary students and how in the Netherlands there was no motivation for these students to make these portfolios. But when I read through that article, the portfolios that they were making were such inauthentic. Right? They were made just for a teacher to assess. The audience wasn't even anything worthwhile. So why would they be motivated for? But for my kids, the seize the day kind of idea would be this online creation, right? Creating this website where they're able to have community time with one another. And I need to learn through this course better digital safety so that I can communicate to them, so that our community could even go beyond just our classroom walls, because we know that students will need to be able to find community outside of just their four walls. This portfolio would be like this creative thing that they can make based on different prompts or things going on in the classroom. And then collaboration. Can they sit by each other and work on creating something together that could be just our class's creation? And then the ideas kept flowing. I was like, well, why does it need to just be in the morning? Why can't I roll it over into the afternoon? That's when I have religion time with my kids. And the curriculum that we have, it's like no good in just having them talk about their faith, have that conversation, create knowledge and faith based on what they're reading. So I thought, what about a digital composing tool, like taking what would be a spiral bound notebook that they're journaling in, and why can't they do it online? Finding a site. And that's where I do want to ask you all, what are those good sites for them to create? I mean, I get it. Like, I could do a Weebly and they could have Canva activities and upload the Canvas, and sometimes they could blog and sometimes they could do whatever. But what are those sites? Like, can Weebly be password protected for students? I haven't explored that much. Or are there other better password protected sites so that there's some safety if it needs to be there? Or what are those ways in which we could interact with some people out in the real community and they could access our information while still being safe? What are those sites? So help me out there. I feel like a YouTuber and saying, leave your comment below, or like, in our Canva site, give me some ideas if you have any more. I'll obviously be spending some of my summer researching this because it's something I want to be passionate about. I want them to have these new media skills. I want them to be able to have a sense of participation in the culture that's happening for them right now and is evolving every single day. I know that this, in summary, means I have to give up some amount of control. One of our articles was talking about starting off that first week of school and giving them student-centered learning with digital composing, helping them see that when they show up to class, they're here to learn and they're here to create. They need to be creators. I want to facilitate that kind of designing for these students. The pros, obviously, are the fact that if we go and dive into digital composing, we've got students who are learning the skills of 21st century citizens. They're going to be lifelong designers, lifelong learners, being able to participate in communities. And our cons here would be that if we don't have enough education as teachers, we're going to inspire fear. One of the other articles I was reading was about how teachers are scaring digital learners, like our students today. We're going to call them digital learners. They're scaring them and saying, if you get online, your digital footprint, it's going to affect you, and this, that, and the other. But what about teacher education on digital skills and new media literacies so that we can then have our students learn how to have positive digital footprints? I'll end here with this really interesting quote from a technology researcher. His name is Will Richardson. Back in 2008, he said this. 2008, we're in 2021 now. Is this applicable? He said, one of my worst fears as my children grow older is that they won't be Googled well. Here's where he goes with that. That when a certain someone, that's supposed to be admissions officers, employers, potential mates, enter name, he uses Tess Richardson, into the search line of the browser, what comes up will be less than impressive. Wait for it, here comes the next thing, I know what you're already thinking. That a quick surf through the top 5 hits will fail to astound with examples of her creativity, collaborative skills, and change the world work. Or even worse, that no links about her will come up at all. interesting, not what we think of normally. I think we have to change our perspective as teachers about what digital composing means. And we have to be advocates not only in our schools, but in our communities, because we've got kids with parents who are fearful. We're in schools where our administrators might be fearful. Teachers around us might be fearful. And we need to change that fear because we know that these kids are digital learners in this 21st century. So I'll end how I began, with a larger-than-life personality. I'm just kidding, okay? I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you learned a little something, and that we're able to engage and have a bit more collaborative conversation in the discussion board online. Thanks. Bye.